Hello and welcome to another booktube video from me, Lauren, from Lauren and the Books. You know, I really do like wearing this, but it is so restrictive. I've just tried to get books off my shelf and I had to go and stand the other side of that because there's just no giving this at all. The end. Today's video, it's a bit of a sort of a mishmash of a couple of videos I've seen, really. I don't really know what to call it. Who knows? You'll know by now because I would have thought of something to call it in order to put it up. But it's basically 5 books on my shelves that I think are going to be 5-star reads for me, but that I'm putting off for some reason or other. And that reason being that I've got a special time lined up for those 5 books. So it's a 5-star predictions video, but also a sort of like TBR, looking forward to reading these when video as well. So the first 2 are books that I was planning on reading when David and I went to my parents, who have a lovely little place in France, little country you might know, France. We were going to go at the beginning of November. Then COVID happened, and you can still go to France, but you have to isolate for 14 days when you get back. The holiday was basically going to be us sort of sitting in my mum and dad's house, not really doing much, just with a lovely fire on, which sounds lovely, and I'm sad we can't go, but it wasn't sort of like holiday of a lifetime situation. So we're sadly not going to go because there's going to be too much quarantine period when we get back, and who knows what we'll be able to do when we get there. Cases are going up in France. Cases are going up everywhere, aren't they? So yeah, so these 2 books are books that I had earmarked to read whilst I was away on that very holiday. So maybe I will still get to them that same week. I'm still going to take the week off of work, and we'll do some nice lovely bits back here. But yeah, the 2 books were, the first one was Anne of Green Gables by L.M. Montgomery. You might have seen this in a recent haul. I forever love these covers. These are the sisterhood covers from Penguin. They've got a range of 6 of them: Pride and Prejudice, Little Women, Heidi, Railway Children. Let's go through all of them. I'll tell you all of them, and A Little Princess as well as this one. And I'd seen the Pride and Prejudice one at my local library and was like, that is beautiful. But I own Pride and Prejudice, and then I also own Little Women, and the other titles I wasn't that bothered about. I hadn't heard so much about Anne of Green Gables. In fact, and I've said this before, I had a very, very dull front cover of Anne of Green Gables when I was younger. It came in like a mass-produced sort of like box set of children's classics, and I remember looking at the front cover thinking, no thank you. And then I watched Emma from Drinking by My Shelves video, where she read all of the Anne of Green Gables books in one weekend, and I was like, maybe I would like that. It sounds like a girl with sass and red hair, just having a lovely time, and also sort of like makes me just feel a bit autumnal. I don't know what it is about it that makes me feel autumnal. It's also a TV series that's recently been made called Anne with an E. So yeah, so I was thinking I was going to read that when I went away on holiday, and I think I just got a feeling it's going to be a 5-star for me, which is a complete turnaround from when I used to look at that boring front cover when I was younger thinking I will not enjoy that at all. So yeah, I've got a feeling that's going to be a 5-star, and yeah, I was going to read it when I went on holiday at the beginning of November, but no more. And then the other book that I think is going to be a 5-star that I was going to read when I went on holiday in December is Passing by Nella Larson. Now this is a little Macmillan's Collector's library edition, and this is about a woman called Irene who passes as white. She's married to a successful physician and she enjoys a comfortable life in Harlem, New York. Reluctantly, she renews her friendship with old school friend Claire Kendry. Claire, who is passing. Claire, who like Irene, is light-skinned, passes as white and is married to a racist white man who has no idea about his wife's racial heritage. Claire is very persuasive, and Irene, despite misgivings, can't resist letting her back into her world. As tension mounts between friends and between couples, this taut and mesmerising narrative spins towards an unexpected end. So this sounds amazing. It's based on some real life events that Nella Larson experienced in the 20s in New York, in Harlem, yeah. And yeah, it just sounds like there's really not much to it. So it sounds like it packs a lot in, and it must be pretty pacey. And also, having read The Vanishing Half this year by Britt Bennett, and like that, I just love that book. I think it's amazing and one of the best books I've ever read. Definitely one of my favourite books of the year. This sounds as though The Vanishing Half is definitely sort of similar to this. So yeah, I feel like this is going to be great as well, and I had planned to take that away and read that as well. So those are the 2 books that I planned to take away on holiday with me, that I thought I was going to give 5 stars. We will have to see how things go with that. The next one is a Christmas book, a Christmas present that I got last year from David's parents for Christmas, and it's pretty niche, guys. It's pretty niche. It's Gender, Sex and Gossip in Ambridge, Women in the Archers, by Cara Courage and Nicola Headlam. It's got a lot of sort of contributing authors to here, and you will know that I'm a big fan of The Archers. The Archers is a radio play that's been running for many years on Radio 4, which talks about the fictional lives of a group of villagers in Ambridge, which is in a fictional village in the UK called fictional county called Borchester. There's a lot to do with farming. It's a farming county, but there's also sort of like they deal with a lot of sort of like heavy topics, and I've become very fond of them all. It was Simon who got me into it. I went and stayed with Simon, and him and his husband listened to it, and from then I've basically listened to it all the time. Now throughout lockdown they were very kind to us. They tried as hard as they could to keep things going, because obviously they couldn't carry on filming, and throughout lockdown they've been doing sort of like stream of consciousness episodes, which some people have really hated. I didn't hate them. So it's just like one person like thinking about like, oh, we're gonna go to the shops and things like that. So not much has been happening in The Archers, which is unusual because normally it's pretty like pacey, things are happening quite quickly. But yeah, they've kept things going, and now they've just got back to sort of like beginning to record with a cast again, which has been very exciting and nice to have back. But yeah, so it's something that I love anyway. And I saw that this book existed, which is about gender, sex and gossip in Ambridge, focusing on the women in The Archers. And I asked for it for Christmas, and David's mum and dad bought it for me, and I was so excited when I bought it. I literally like unwrapped it and was like delighted and thought I must read this as soon as possible, and then I haven't, and I've been putting it off. Number one, because I think it looks quite academic. Like, I was quite surprised at how academic it looked when I got it. There's a lot of references at the end of each chapter. There's a lot of sort of like quotings and things like that. And yeah, so that's the number one reason, but also because I wanted to be able to dedicate like a really like solid amount of time to this, and maybe even like make notes and things like that. Something that I wish had happened when I went to university. I went to a university that was close to where I live, because it was my boyfriend at the time, was going there, and I did sociology, and I wish like I'd looked more into like women's studies and things like that. At the time I didn't know I was into that sort of stuff, so I really wish I had. And this feels like I could do some like women's studies stuff on this, so like I could relive something that I wish I'd done when I was at university. And yeah, so I feel like I want like maybe a weekend. It's even got graphs and stuff in it, guys. I feel like I'd like a day or something, maybe a day when David's not about or something, just to sort of sit, read, make notes, and just really delve myself into it. And I feel like I'm gonna really love it. It's about women, it's about The Archers. It's 2 things that I really love. So yeah, I think this is going to be a 5-star, and the event that I'm waiting for is a weekend where I can recreate my university life and just maybe sit and make notes and just have a lovely time, which who knows when that'll be. Maybe soon, hopefully soon. So yeah, that's the third one I think is going to be 5 stars. Then the next one I think is going to be 5 stars is The Fair Fight by Anna Freeman. This is Anna Freeman is a writer of historical fiction mainly, and last year over my birthday I read, well, I started over my birthday. Dave and I went away for my birthday, and I started Anna Freeman's more recent book called 5 Days of Fog, which follow a female shoplifting gang in the East End of London, who's and during the 5 days of heavy fog in the 60s, I think it was, might have been the 50s, in London. And I love that book. I started it over my birthday, and then I didn't finish it because I was then reading Christmas books. My birthday's at the end of November, so I really took like, it took me a long time to read it, but that didn't like decrease my interest in it at all. And as soon as I finished that, I went online and bought The Fair Fight, which is the book that she published before, that Anna Freeman published before 5 Days of Fog, second hand, and I've had it ever since then. But every time I've looked at it, I've thought maybe this will be a birthday treat for me. I loved 5 Days of Fog so much last year, and reading it over my birthday, I was like, maybe I'll treat myself to a little Anna Freeman book at my birthday. So I think I'm going to read this around my birthday, and I should tell you what it's about really, shouldn't I? It's about female rescue. wrestling. It says, born into a brothel, Ruth's future looks bleak until she catches the eye of Mr. Dryer, a rich Bristol merchant and enthusiast of the ring. He gains gutsy Ruth as a pugilist. Soon she rules the blood-spattered sawdust at the infamous Hatchet Inn. Dryer's wife Charlotte lives in the shadows, a grieving orphan. She hides away, scarred by smallpox, ignored by Dryer and engaged in dangerous mind games with her brother. When Dryer sidelines Ruth after a disastrous fight and focuses on training her husband Tom, Charlotte presents Ruth with an extraordinary proposition. As the tension mounts before Tom's championship fight, two worlds collide with electrifying consequences. So yeah, sounds like it's gonna be fucking great. And actually, I remember reading that out before and David being like, "Oh, that does sound good." So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to this, and I do think this is going to be a birthday treat for me this year, as 5 Days of Fog was last year, which I did give 5 stars. So previously, I've given Anna Freeman's books 5 stars. And then the last one, it's a Christmas book. It is Royal Holiday by Jasmine Guillory. I think I'm going to give this 5 stars. It just sounds so pure and lovely and about Christmas. And obviously I'm not planning on reading this until Christmas. In December, if you've been here a while, you may well know that I read purely Christmas books in December. A lot of sort of like revisits of my favourite Christmas books and picture books and things like that. And every year I try to get my hands on new Christmas books. And this is, I don't know if this is new this year, but it's definitely new to me. When was it published? I've since found out this is actually in a series, 2019. So I think there's a lot of like, I think this is the 4th in a series. I don't know if it's the same. I don't know if it's the same characters in every book, but I definitely know that there's like a sort of series going on. And this just sounds, like I said, it just sounds so pure. And it's about it's a like sort of like it's romance, which isn't a genre I normally read. So like expecting a romance book to be 5 stars is pretty impressive for me. And it's about Vivian Forrest. Her mother, her daughter is she's got some sort of like creative job. What does she do? Oh, she's a stylist, and she is going to, so this is set in America, and she's going to the UK over Christmas to style a member of the royal family, and her mother comes along with her, and while Vivian is there, she meets Malcolm Hudson, who's worked for the Queen for years and has never given a personal private tour until now. And it's a love story between these two sort of like older people set at Christmas, bit of royal family thrown in there. One of the most beautiful front covers I've ever seen. I just feel like it's going to be an absolute treat for me. I can't wait. And look underneath as well, it looks even beautiful underneath. So yeah, so I really feel like this could be a 5 star for me as well, and obviously holding off until Christmas to read this. So there we go, 5 books that I think I'm going to give 5 stars, but I'm holding off for. Is this something that you guys do? Do you think, oh, that book sounds really good, but I'm going to wait until then to read it? Or like, have you got books on your shelf that you think are going to be 5 stars but you haven't read them yet? Like, when I thought about doing a 5 star prediction video, I was like, but there must, surely I would have read all the books that I think are going to be 5 stars, because I must be really excited about them. And then I realised that I had books that I was saving for specific things. So yeah, we'll definitely be interested to hear what you guys do in terms of like waiting to read things. Have you read any of these books? Were any of these books 5 stars for you? And I will see you all again soon for another booktube video.